Hi, Tony. Thanks as always for your time. With the year coming to an end, I wanted to ask you about TV ratings for AEW. Dynamite TV ratings and Rampage ratings were down on average in all four quarters this year from their ratings in 2022. So I was wondering what your thoughts are on what the biggest reasons are for that change.
I think the Dynamite rating in particular held up very well relative to cable. And in fact, I think the Dynamite is year over year, isn't Dynamite pretty similar to Raw this quarter? Given a couple percent at most in terms of the year over year. With that, Brandon, by the way, you can unmute Brandon if you want to, because I'll gladly.
Dynamite is down in Q4 in total viewership 10%, and Raw is down 8%.
So, like I said, it's within a couple. It's basically very similar year over year. You would say Dynamite and Raw this quarter.
In this quarter, yeah. But in the demo,
I do think it's been very similar, and I think it's cable in general is down. Obviously, those are the big cable products of both companies year over year historically. I know it's AEW. We've only been around 5 years, but that has kind of been our flagship show since the beginning. So, you say Raw is down 8% and Dynamite's down 10%. I think I was, and I had that off the top of my head pretty much. And that's very similar. And both of those are ahead of the decline in cable television. Cable television is down a lot more than 10% year over year. And both of us at Raw at down 8% and Dynamite down 10% are beating the hell out of gravity. And both of us are looking at a big pay raise this year for Dynamite and Raw. And Raw, having made $265 million a year last year, for them to get a pay raise, that's going to be a really big number for them. And for us, it's a lot of money too. Frankly, I think it's crazy with sports economics. You talk about these numbers and it's like, like $50 million wasn't a lot of money. It was a lot of money. We've been getting paid year over year for Dynamite, and it's going to be a lot more for us going forward. Both shows are probably due for a big rights fee increase, and frankly, percentage-wise, especially Dynamite, because of where we started and how we performed. So again, those numbers, and it's, by the way, I notice people talk about the Dynamite one a lot, but 8 and 10%, pretty similar numbers there. You don't hear people talk about the 8% as much, do you? And then if people bring up football, I would point out that this is versus last year's quarter, where there was football, and the quarter before, and the quarter before, and every quarter the show's ever been on in Q4, because that's Q4 every year. And I do have some points talking about football, though. When I get to the collision ratings, there's no year-over-year collision ratings history. So anyway, so to your point, I think, to be 8 to 10% to me is very similar, with the drop in cable being much more than that. And so I think that both shows have done really well to, frankly, defy gravity and stay ahead of the drop, which, as I understand, is closer to 20%. And again, Brandon, if you guys, I'm happy to and Brandon, I assume I will see you at the scrum also. So, and I will, and I would, very, very glad to talk, numbers and stuff, and have like kind of a back and forth on some of these things, because I think you're very, very intelligent, articulate, and one of the best read and best researched people on this particular subject, and I could learn something from you about it. But I think it's fair to say, and thanks Jim for letting Brandon jump back in and unmuting him. I wanted to get that, because I was thinking that was about right off the top of my head. Those were the numbers I was thinking were about 8 to 10%, and so I think it's very similar. And I think, frankly, they would have the same answer, that when they're out in the marketplace trying to make that sale for Raw right now, actively in that same TV rights marketplace we all were just talking about. I think we'd have the same answer there, that frankly, down 8 to 10% year over year is pretty good, when the industry is down far, far more than